Guess what we're doing today? If you thought something breaded, you'd be absolutely right. Let's make proper pork schnitzel and stuff it into a bun. A fairly easy meal and pretty affordable too. If you watched my channel before, you know I make my condiments myself. This one is no exception. We're gonna have a sweet, tangy, spicy sauce to go over this. And then of course we need a nice crunchy slaw to round it all out. You can make the schnitzels ahead of time and have them ready for a quick weeknight lunch or dinner. Just pop them into the microwave for a minute before using so they're not ice cold. Let's start with the condiments so they have time to develop some flavor. In a bowl, add a tablespoon of gochujang, 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using an apple cider vinegar, but white wine vinegar or rice vinegar is fine. A good dash of lemon juice, maybe like half a small lemon's worth, and 5 tablespoons of honey. You want a liquid honey here. The last ingredient is red pepper flakes. I'm using a Korean version here, which is not only affordable, but also has a good ratio of flavor and heat. You want around 3 teaspoons of that, maybe 4. I'm gonna go with 3 here. Mix it all up. There's the sweet, tangy, spicy sauce. The slaw is made from Napa cabbage. A vegetable I think is massively underrated. Just slice as much as you need thinly. Put it in a bowl and set it aside. In another bowl, you have 2 to 3 tablespoons mayo. Add a good dash of sriracha sauce, as hot as you like it. 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm again using apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. And 1 tablespoon of some kind of neutral oil. This is sunflower oil. Stir to combine. The soy sauce should provide enough salt. I think it could use a little bit more. There. Now we're talking. Set this aside too. Do not mix with the Napa cabbage yet, because you want the cabbage crunchy afterwards, and this only takes a few minutes to combine. This is not a traditional Wiener Schnitzel recipe, although I will point out the differences as we go along. This is a basic pork schnitzel, which you could call pork schnitzel Viennese style. Essentially, it's just a breaded and fried pork schnitzel. Here's the first pointer. Real Wiener Schnitzel is always made from veal, and it's usually a top round cut. The pork I'm using today comes from a shoulder roast, from which I took out the bone and then sliced up the nice pieces for this schnitzel. The rest of it goes to other recipes like a roast or pulled pork. The schnitzel will need a good pounding first. Schnitzel needs to be thin. Traditionally, a Wiener Schnitzel is around 3 millimeters or about 1/8 of an inch thick. That's fine for pork if you have a pork cut that has some fat. If you're using like a pork loin, which is fairly dry, I would go for a little bit thicker, maybe around 1/4 of an inch. In order to pound this, a plastic bag will help a lot. You just take a plastic bag, put a piece of this in, and then you carefully pound it until you have the desired size. There. Pull it out, do the next. Next step is to season the meat. There's multiple opinions about this. Some say don't season it, some say season it, some say use pepper, some say don't use pepper. I'm team seasoning and pepper because I want my steaks to taste like something. Here we go. Before we start breading, put a pan with some oil on your stove. You want a nice hot oil. Somewhere between 320 and 350 degrees is what you're looking for. I'm not using a separate camera setup today. Reason is timing. My cell phone will have to do. If you're breading something and want it crisp, you need to get this into the oil right away. Doing a camera setup would be at least 10 to 15 minutes. By that time the breading would be soggy and the result would be mediocre. I'm using regular canola oil to fry this. You could add a little bit of clarified butter to give you some butter flavor. Traditional Wiener Schnitzel is actually fried in clarified butter for the flavor. Time to set up my breading line. All-purpose flour, eggs, regular breadcrumbs. That's it. You want these eggs beaten to a nice homogeneous consistency. The easiest way to do that is shake them. I'm just using a cocktail shaker. You could just use a jar with a lid. In go my eggs. Lid on. Shake properly. There. Homogeneous egg. A quick word about safety. When you're frying something, use a high-walled pot. That way you avoid splatter, and always have a lid handy. If that fat starts burning, do not use water, do not nothing else. Put a lid on. That's it. It will kill the fire. Quick test whether the oil is ready to go. See, it starts bubbling. Oil is ready to go. Prepare a plate with some paper towels on it. Coming up is the biggest difference to a real Wiener Schnitzel. First you put your meat into the flour. Nothing new there. Then you drop it into the egg. I'm using one of my trusty kitchen tweezers for this. They're perfect to avoid sticky hands. Make sure everything's coated. And then drop it into the breadcrumbs. If you're making a Wiener Schnitzel, do not use any force in the breadcrumbs. Just sprinkle over, maybe turn it, but do not push down. Make sure they're adhering everywhere without pushing. And this is what you do for a Wiener Schnitzel. Let me put this aside because we will see the difference after frying it. Now let's do another one. I'm actually pushing down for this recipe because I want the breading to stay on there. This is going into a bun. It needs to be a little bit more solid. So now when I put it in here, I sprinkle over so I don't get my hands dirty, and then I keep pushing it down. Turn it over, push it down. The difference will be the one where you don't push the breading down will puff up a little, where this will not, or at least not as much. Before we bread the next piece, pop the first one into your hot oil. There, it should start bubbling right away. Get the oil moving. Ideally, you would move this all the time until it's done for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, turning it once. Don't be too vigorous. You do not want the oil to spill over your hands. That's a painful experience. See how the breading on this one puffs up? That's what happens when you don't push it on. Once your schnitzel has a nice golden brown color on both sides, pull it out and let it drip off on a piece of paper towel. Time to toss in the next one, always away from you. And again, keep it moving. This is the schnitzel where we push down on the breadcrumbs. There isn't a single puffed up bubble here. So in a nutshell, the easiest way to ruin a Wiener Schnitzel is to push down on the breading. Time to bread the next one. Flour, shake it off. Egg. And into the crumbs. From the crumbs, straight into the pan. Again, away from you. Keep it moving. Once golden brown, turn it over. Keep moving. Onto your stack. Cover with a paper towel to get off the excess fat. Keep doing this until you breaded and fried all your pieces of meat. This pan is getting a little bit too warm. There is a little burnt breading on the bottom. No worries. When this happens to you and the fat gets too hot and you have a few burnt bits on the bottom, here's the trick. Turn it around once. See? No bits. Do not move, or if you have to move it, keep moving until it's cooked, but then flip it once entirely. And if you lift it out like this, no burnt bits. While we're waiting for the last schnitzel to fry, Here's an opportunity to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another episode. Thank you. Heat up another pan and add a little bit of butter or clarified butter, because we're going to need that in a minute to toast our buns. Time to put it together. Remember the slaw? Now it's time to combine it. Quickly stir this around. There's our sweet tangy sauce. And here's the bun, which we are quickly going to toast. This will already do. Beautiful. People will hate me for this, but I like a little bit of ketchup on the bottom. You could use mayo, you could use spicy mayo. There. Now it's time for one of our golden fried schnitzels. Drizzle on the spicy honey sauce we made. Add a generous portion of slaw. Let's call that dinner. Talking about things that go great on a bun, you should watch my bratwurst recipe next.